Yes, Manoj, you can start.
Yeah, I, Manoj Kumar Chaudhary, welcome you all on behalf of Nani Palkiwala Law Club. As we know, our three laws, that is IPC, CRPC, and Indian Evidence Act, has changed. And we got the assent from our
We'll first go to the particular folder. Yes, comparison. I hope you are able to see. Kindly put in the chat whether you are able to see it. Yes or no? Friends. Okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Sachin. Friends, Bharatiya Nyay Sanhita 2023, which is applicable from 1st July. Already, some cases are registered in different police stations by imposing new sections of this BNS. So how BNS comparison with IPC, Indian Penal Code, 1860. So first chapter 1 is preliminary in BSN and in IPC introduction. Section 1, short title, commencement and application. And in IPC, section 1 is related to title, extent of operation of the code. So here you find section 1, subclause 1, 1, 2, subclause like that. Section 2 is of definitions. So the definition, if you see, 2, subclause 1, act, and same act's definition in IPC was in section 33. So all the definition which was given in IPC in separate section, they have accommodated in one section that is called definition. So in definition section, you can find in BNS Act 2.1, 2.2 animal, section 2 subclause 3 child, section 2 subclause 4 counterfeit, section 2 subclause 5 port, 2.6 death, 2.7 dishonesty, 2.8 document. Then 29A, which was in IPC electronic record, that was deleted, that includes in document now. Electronic record is included in the definition of 2 subclause 8 document. 2.9 fraudulently, 2.10 gender, 2.11 good faith, 2.12 government. Now India word, which was in section 18, it is deleted in BNS. 2.13 harbor, 2.14 injury, 2.15 illegal, 2.16 judge, 2.17 life, 2.18 local law, 2.19 man, 2.20 month and year, 2.21 movable property, 2.22 number, 2.23 oath, 2.24 offense, 2.25 omission, 2.26 person, 2.27 public. Then servant of government is deleted in BNS. It included in servant, public servant, it is included. Section 2, subclause 28. Reason to value 219. Then 230, special law, like this. Now, in BNS section 231, valuable security. It was in IPC section 30. 232, vessel. 233, voluntarily. 234, will. Section 2, subclause 35, women. 236, wrongful gain. 237, wrongful loss. 238, gaining wrongfully or losing wrongfully. Yes, we have already seen the first page. Now we are on second page. Section 3, general exceptions in BNS. Section 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3 subclause 5, 3 subclause 6. It is related to the different general exceptions. So general exceptions definition was given in IPC in section 6. Okay. BNS section 3 subclause 2 was in IPC section 7. Sense of expression once explained. BNS 3 subsection 2 now it is now, but in past IPC it is section 7, section 27. Property in possession of white clerk or servant, like that. So this is a comparison. Section 3, 5, 3, 6, 7, these are general exceptions. Then chapter 2 of punishment. So chapter 2 of punishment is in now BNS, but it was in IPC chapter 3 of punishment. Section 4, punishment change. Punishment's definition, punishment, what is punishment? It was given in IPC in section 53, but now in BNS it is section 4. Then IPC section 53A, construction of reference to the transportation. Now it is a deleted. Then section 5, communication of sentence, commutation of sentence. Commutation of sentence 5A and 5B are there. But earlier, it was in section 54, commutation of sentence of death and commutation of sentence of life imprisonment was section 55. Now, in BNS, section 5A is commutation of sentence of death and 5B is commutation sentence of life imprisonment. Then section 6 in BNS, fraction of term of punishment. Earlier it was section 57, fraction of terms of punishment. In BNS now, section 7 is related to sentence may be in certain cases of imprisonment wholly or partly rigorous or simple. Earlier it was in section 60. Now in BNS, section 8 related to amount of fine, liability in default of payment of fine, etc. Earlier it was section 63. Then section 8.2, 8.1, 8, section 8 subclause 1 is amount of fine. Section 8.2 is related to sentence of imprisonment for non-payment of fine. Section 8 subclause 3 is related to limit to imprisonment for non-payment of fine when imprisonment or fine awardable. Section 8.4 Earlier it was section 66, description of imprisonment for non-payment of fine. In BNS section 8 subclause 5, now was section 67 is related to imprisonment for non-payment of fine when offence punishable with fine only. Section 8(6)(a), imprisonment to terminate on payment of fine. Section 8(6)(b), termination of imprisonment of payment of proportionate part of fine. Section 8 subclause 7, it was section 17 IPC, fine leviable within 6 years of during imprisonment, death not to discharge property from liability. In BNS, section 9 is related to limit of punishment of offence made up of several offences. Same was in IPC section 71. Now see section 71 and now it is section 9. Because of all the definition in BNS, they have taken in section 2. So many sections are automatically get it less as compared to the IPC. Then section in BNS section 10 is related to punishment of a person guilty of one of several offences, judgment stating that it is doubtful of which. Earlier it was section 72 in IPC. In section 11 BNS, solitary confinement, it was in 73 in IPC. In BNS now, section 12 is related to limit of solitary confinement. It was earlier section 74. Section 13 of BNS is enhanced punishment for certain offences after previous conviction. It was earlier section 75. Now see chapter 3, general exceptions. Earlier it was chapter 4, general exceptions. Section 14, act done by a person bound or by mistake of fact, believing himself bound by law. Earlier it was section 76. Now in BNS, section 15 is related to act of judge when acting judicially. Earlier it was section 77 in IPC. Now in BNS, section 16 is related to act done pursuant to judgment or order of court. Earlier it was section 78. Now in BNS, section 17, act done by a person justified or by mistake of fact, believing himself justified by law. Earlier it was section 79. Now in BNS, section 18 is related to accident in doing a lawful act. Earlier it was section 80. Now in BNS, section 19 is related to act likely to cause harm but done without criminal intent and to prevent other harms. So we are observing section chapter 3, general exceptions. These are the general exceptions. As a criminal lawyer of trial court, whoever is practicing in a trial court as a criminal lawyer, so they should always focus when accused case comes in your hand, that time you have to see whether it will come under general exception or not. So general exceptions should be very properly studied by the defense lawyer. And it will adversely studied by the prosecution lawyer. But when you are practicing in appellate court, like high court, like I myself been practicing in Supreme Court, that time you have to focus from this way also and from that way also. Because all round study we have to make of that particular brief, from trial court to then suppose JMFC to session court to then high court to then Supreme Court, like that. So section 20 of BNS is related to act of child under 7 years of age. Earlier it was section 82. Section 21 of BNS related to act of child above 7 and under 12 years of age of immature understanding. Earlier it was section 83. Now in BNS section 22 is related to act of a person of unsound mind. Earlier it was section 84. Now in BNS section 23 is related to act of a person incapable of judgment by reason of intoxication caused against his will. That is very important. So intoxication against his will, if it caused, so that will be in under general exception. It was earlier section 85 in IPC. Now in BNS section 24 is related to offense requiring a particular intent or knowledge committed by one who is intoxicated. Earlier it was section 86. BNS section 25, act not intended and not known to be likely to cause a death or grievous hurt done by consent. So with consent, like doctor's job. Earlier it section was 87. BNS section 26, act not intended to cause a death done by consent in good faith for a person's benefit. Earlier section was 88. BNS section 27, act done in good faith for the benefit of child or a person of unsound mind by consent of guardian. Earlier section was 89. BNS section 28, consent known to be given under fear or misconception. Earlier section was 90. BNS section 29, exclusion of act which are offenses independently of harm caused. Earlier was section 91. Act done in good faith for benefit of a person without consent. Earlier section was 92. Section 31 of BNS, communication made in good faith. Earlier section was 93. BNS section 32, act to which a person is compelled by threat. Earlier section was 94. BNS section 33, act cause slight harm. Earlier section was 95. Now, of right of private offense. BNS section 34, things done in private defense. Earlier section was 96 in IPC. BNS section 35, right of private defense of a body and of property. Earlier section was 97. BNS section 36, right of private defense against act of a person of unsound mind. Earlier section was 98. Section 37 of BNS, act against which there is a right of private defense. Earlier section was 99. Section 38 of BNS, when a right of private defense of a body extend to causing death. Earlier section was 100. Section 39 of BNS, when such a right extend to causing any harm other than a death. Earlier section was 101. BNS section 40, commencement and continuance of right of private defense of body. Earlier this section was 102. Section 41 of BNS, when right of private defense of property extend to causing death. Earlier section was 103. Section 42, when of BNS, when such a right extend to causing any harm other than a death. Earlier, this section was 104 in IPC. BNS section 43, commencement and continuance of right of private defense of property. Earlier, this section was 105. BNS section 44, right of private defense against a deadly assault when there is a risk of harm to innocent person. Earlier, this section was 106. Chapter 4 of abatement, criminal conspiracy and attempt of abatement. Earlier, this was a chapter 5 of abatement. Now in BNS section 45, abatement of thing. Earlier, this section was 107. BNS section 46, abater. Earlier, this section was 108. Now BNS section 47, abatement in India of offences outside India. Earlier, this section was 108A. This 48 section of BNS is new now. This is new section. Abatement outside India for offense in India. जो उद्योग करते हैं ना फॉरेन में बैठ के लोग, डॉन लोग, now they are in this surveillance under section 48 of BNS. It was not existent in earlier section, earlier law. Section 49 of BNS, punishment of abatement if act abated is committed in consequence and where no express provision is made for its punishment. Earlier, this section was 109. Section 50, punishment of abatement if person abated does act with a different intention from that of abater. Earlier section was 101. BNS section 51, liability of abater when one act abated and different act done. Earlier this section was 111. Now BNS section 52 is related to abater when liable to cumulative punishment of act abated and for act done. Earlier this section was 112. Now BNS section 53, liability of abater for a effect caused by act abated different from that intended by the abater. Earlier this section was 113. Section 54 of BNS, abater present when offense is committed. Earlier this section was 114. Section 55 of BNS, abatement of offense punishable with death or imprisonment for life. Earlier this section was 115. BNS section 56, abatement of offense of punishment with imprisonment. Earlier this section was 116. BNS section 57, abating commission of offense by public or by more than 10%. This now changed. Earlier this section was 117 in IPC, abating commission of offense by the public or by more than 10 persons. In BNS section 58, concealing design to commit offense punishable with death or imprisonment for life. Earlier, this section was 118. Section 59 of BNS, public servant concealing design to commit offense when it is his duty to prevent. Earlier, this section was 119. Section 60 of BNS, concealing design to commit offense. Earlier this section was 120. Clear cut half of section is covered here. Okay. So this is a half of section of 120 of IPC. Now that section is 60 here in BNS. So section 60 I am reading again because half part I read and now I am reading full part. BNS section 60, concealing design to commit offense punishable with imprisonment. Now of criminal conspiracy. It was under chapter 5A, criminal conspiracy in IPC. So in BNS criminal conspiracy, section 61, I am repeating again and again because this is a very important section in new law. Section 61, criminal conspiracy. Earlier this was a section 120A, 120A, definition of criminal conspiracy, and 120B, punishment of criminal conspiracy. But now in BNS, criminal conspiracy definition is given in 61(1) and punishment is given in 61(2). So remember, criminal conspiracy is now section 61, which was earlier 120A and 120B. Now it is 61(1), 61(2). Of attempt, BNS section 62, punishment for attempting to commit offences punishable with imprisonment for life or other imprisonment. Now, earlier in BNS, earlier in IPC, it was a section 511. Now, we are focusing chapter 5 of BNS, which is related to offense against woman and child of sexual offenses. Earlier in IPC, it was in chapter 16 of offenses affecting the human body, that is sexual offenses. But here clear-cut wording is there against woman and child. So in BNS, section 63 is related to rape. Earlier this was 375. Now in BNS section 64, punishment for rape. Earlier this section was 376. Now in BNS section 65, punishment for rape in certain cases. Earlier this section was 376(3). Now in BNS section 65(1), section 65(2). 65(2) contains punishment of rape of a woman under 12 years of age. Earlier this section was 376(a)(b). Now punishment for offense of woman under 12 years of age, section in BNS is now 65(2). BNS section 66, punishment for causing death or resulting in persistent vegetable state of victim. Vegetative state of victim. Earlier this section was 376(a). Friends, section 67 of BNS is related to sexual intercourse by husband upon his wife during separation. Earlier this section was 376(b). Section 68 of BNS, sexual intercourse by a person in authority. Earlier this section was 376(c). This is a new section which is indicated here in green color. BNS section 69, sexual intercourse by employing deceitful means, etc. BNS section 70, gang rape. Earlier this section was 376D. Section 71 and Section 72, rape below 18 years. Earlier, this was in 376DA, 376DB. Section 71 of BNS, punishment for repeat offenders. Earlier, this section was 376E. Now, one section is deleted, which was earlier in IPC 377, unnatural offences. This section now is deleted. Section 72 of BNS, disclosure of identity of victim of certain offences. Earlier, this section was 228A. Section 73 of BNS is printing or publishing of any matter relating to the court proceeding without permission. Remember, friends, court recording, publishing on YouTube channel, court recording lively without permission of the court. So this is offense now in section 73 of BNS. Not only court proceeding, but any printing or publishing of any matter related to the court proceeding without permission. With permission, when permission is granted, then they can publish it in printing, newspaper, or in media channel like that. I'm not discussing so much here. No scope is here discussing. Here is to give the glimpse what are the new law, BNS, what are the section, and what is their corresponding sections was in IPC. So this is comparison I'm trying to giving from this webinar. Now, section 72 of BNS, disclosure of identity of victim of a certain offences, etc. Earlier, this section was 228A. Section 73, printing or publishing of any matter related to the court proceeding without permission. Oh, I'm repeating unnecessary 2-3 section. Okay. Sorry for that. Of criminal force or assault against woman. Section 74 of BNS, assault or use of criminal force to woman with intent to outrage her modesty. Earlier, this section was 354. Section 74 of BNS, sexual harassment. Earlier, this section of sexual harassment was 354A. Now in BNS, section 73 related to assault or use of criminal force to woman with intent to disrobe. Earlier, this section was 354B. Section 77, Bergim. Earlier, this section was 354C. Section 78 of BNS, stalking. Earlier, this section was 354D, stalking. Section 79 of BNS, word, gesture, or act intended to insult modesty of woman. Then earlier section was 509 of offences related to a marriage. Section 80, dowry debt. All these offences they have taken in one chapter, offences against women. Earlier, the chapter was different in IPC, chapter 16 of offences affecting to the human body of offences against life. Same chapter. But dowry debt 1304B, dowry debt. Now dowry debt is in section 80 of BNS. Chapter 20 of previous law IPC is related to offense related to marriage. Now all these offenses are inserted in this chapter of BNS, offense against woman. Section 81, cohabitation caused by a man deceitfully inducing belief of lawful marriage. Earlier, this section was 493. Section 82, marrying again during lifetime of husband or wife. Marry again during lifetime of husband or wife. Earlier, this section was 494. Section 83 of BNS, marriage ceremony fraudulently gone through without lawful marriage. Earlier, this section was 496. 497 section of IPC adultery was now deleted. So this is not into existence in BNS. Section 84 of BNS is enching or taking away or detaining with criminal intent a married woman. Earlier, this section was 498. Chapter 20A of IPC, earlier law, cruelty by husband or relative of husband. Cruelty against husband. Cruelty against woman. Section 85 of BNS is related to husband or relative of husband of a woman subjecting her to cruelty. This section was earlier 498A. Husband or relative of a husband of a woman subjecting her to cruelty. Section 86 of BNS is cruelty defined. It was in 498A. Chapter 16 of offenses affecting the human body of kidnapping, abduction, slavery, and forced labor. Now, see the difference. In BNS, Section 87, kidnapping, abducting, or inducing woman to compel her marriage, etc., of causing of miscarriage, etc. That is the second part. Section 87. Earlier, kidnapping section was 366. Now, this section of kidnapping is section 87. Of causing of miscarriage, etc. Section 88 of BNS, causing miscarriage. This section was earlier in law, earlier IPC 312. Section 89 of BNS, causing miscarriage without woman's consent. This section was earlier 313. Section 90 of BNS, death caused by act done with intent to cause miscarriage. This section was earlier 314. Section 91 of BNS, act done with intent to prevent child being born alive or to cause to die after birth. बच्ची पैदा होने के बाद ही उसको मारना वगैरह, या पैदा होने के पहले try to kill that female child, female womb. This was very, very cruelty. This section is now 91. Earlier, this section was 350. I will take separate webinar on a separate topic in future. That time we can discuss section wise. We can discuss that thing also. But in part 1, part 2, part 3, maybe part 4, I have to complete the only sections and its co-relation section in earlier laws. So this is the task of this, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever part of this webinar will be done. I cannot take more than 1 hour because your stamina to hear me will be not more than 1 hour. But some charts are there. Sir, explain this, sir, explain that. Definitely I will explain. But in different webinar, we will take separate webinar on ref sections, on this woman related other offenses, like that. We will take separate seminars. So I know, I hope you are the member of our Nani Palkiwala National Law Club. No entry fee, nothing. No annual fee for Nani Palkiwala Law Club. Just joining that WhatsApp group, official WhatsApp group, that is sufficient for it. And we'll gradually we'll take some lectures of eminent senior lawyers, some lectures of different lawyers also. Some lectures on different jurisprudence of also. Bail matter jurisprudence last 10 years. Custom Act jurisprudence in last 10 years. Then other laws also, IBC in last 5 years, jurisprudence, what IBC jurisprudence change, insolvency, bankruptcy code, criminal, civil, all law, property laws, specific performance of contract, specific performance act, everything. Because with the grace of Lord Krishna, I have got the privilege of publish more than 60 books on Supreme Court case laws. If you go on Amazon or Flipkart and type Jayprakash Somani books there, you will find all my books. And very reasonable price. You will find 20, 21 important cases with explanation properly. So that is we are trying to do that. So when you join this Nani Palkiwala Wednesday Law Club, not Wednesday now, there's a National Law Club now. Earlier we used to take this meeting on Wednesday, so earlier time was different. But now, yeah, and Manoj Chaudhary is convener. I'm founder president. Pooja Rai helping us. She is my PA. She's helping us to publish it. And now see how the task to edit that YouTube video, live video also, which have some disturbances in earlier part. So let me concentrate again on 92. Section 92 of BNS, causing death of quick born child by act amounting to culpable homicide. Earlier this section was 316. In BNS of offense against children, in BNS section 93, exposure or abandonment of child under 12 years by parent or person having care of it. Earlier this section was 370. Section 94, concealment of birth by secret disposal of dead body. Earlier this section was 318. Section 95 of BNS, hiring, employing or engaging a child to commit an offense. This is a new section, friend. I hope something good will happen in our society, not to engage child for criminal act. Hiring, employing or engaging a child to commit an offense. Section 96 of BNS, procuration of child. Earlier this section was 366A. Sections 97 of BNS, kidnapping or abducting child under 10 years of age with intent to steal from its person. Earlier, this section was 369. In BNS section 98, selling child for purposes of prostitution, etc. Earlier, this section was 372. In BNS section 99, buying child for purposes of prostitution, selling is offense in section 98, and buying child for the purpose of prostitution is offense under section 99 of BNS. Earlier, this section was 373. Chapter 6 of offenses of affecting the human body of offenses affecting life. Earlier, the chapter was 16 of offenses affecting the human body. This is murder section 300, 301, 302. It was in IPC. Now, this section is changed in BNS. What is the new section in BNS? BNS section 100, culpable homicide. Earlier, this section was 299. BNS section 101, murder. Earlier section of murder was 300. BNS section 102, culpable homicide by causing death of a person other than a person whose death was intended. Earlier, this section was 301. I am very happy today. Very good remarks are coming in chat box. Very good remark. So this inspiration I got. So definitely we will do best things for you. Definitely. Best thing for you. For law students also, for law colleges also. If any law college required my webinar on this to take full difference action, so I always welcome. Online always welcome. Offline, nearby Delhi where I'm staying, I can take that. Offline also, but online, anywhere from India, I will take this session for bar association. I will take section for law college also, because whenever I will take more session, I will get this memorized automatically. This is my selfishness in this. So by repeating this automatically, and my video, more than 300 video you can see on YouTube of mine. My channel is Jay Somani 64, or you can put Jayprakash Somani. So sometime I'm watching my videos also for repeating that knowledge specifically. But we'll do the best thing for you. Yes. We are taking now for Supreme Court cases free legal guidance camps also, online camps also we are taking. We'll post that in your group also. And whenever you want to take such type of camp at your end, if you are a lawyer in High Court and if you want to take this camp at your place, yes, I am ready to take that. Physical also and online also, or hybrid also you can take that. Because Saturday and Sunday we have free. I'm a free Saturday on Sunday, so I can devote that time for the betterment of my legal community and for the public at large also. मजा आता है यार, पूरे अपने वकील भाइयों के काम लेके काम करने के लिए, जजेस की काम करने के लिए। मुझे वो बुक्स पढ़ने के बाद वो जजेस के भी इतने अच्छे रिमार्क आ जाते हैं ना, और वीडियो देखने के बाद भी जजेस भी जुड़ जाते हैं, तो बहुत अच्छा। अभी आपके जो नानी पालके वाला नेशनल लॉ क्लब है, उसमें काफी जजेस है, काफी हाईकोर्ट के जजेस भी उसमें इन्वॉल्व है। ऐसे है, तो ये दिस इज द ऑनर ऑफ अस, ऑफ आवर एफर्ट्स। और फ्रॉम स्मॉल टाउन आई रीच टू अप टू दिल्ली, टाकळीबांध तालुका, श्रीरामपूर जिल्हा, अहमदनगर, महाराष्ट्र. I was in Marathi medium, then gradually come to the college, then we take the English medium, then come to law, we have completed law in English medium, then started practice in Tehsil Court, then District Court, then High Court, then Sestat Tribunal, Central Excise. Meanwhile, I completed my MBA in Patent. Then I focused on High Court practice some years in Bombay. Then I shifted my practice in 2018 in Supreme Court, and now practice. So from vernacular language, from rural area to English language, English argument in Supreme Court of India and in international arbitration matter also. So this is because of only one my hobby, to give better to the law students, or better to the lawyers also, lawyers. This is my just. So now section 103 of BNS is punishment of murder by life convict. Sorry, 103 punishment of a murder, and earlier this section was 302. So remember that I am giving you a little bit formula here. 101 earlier 300. Section 102 of BNS earlier 301. Here 102 301 earlier section. BNS section 103 of punishment of murder, earlier this section was 302. In BNS section 104 punishment of a murder by life convict, earlier this section was 303. Section BNS section 105 punishment of a culpable homicide not amounting to murder, earlier this section was 304. Section 106 of BNS causing death by negligence, it was earlier 304A. Pooja, remind me after 1 hour, when complete 1 hour. Section 1062. This is new section. Focus. Section 106, 106 subclause 2 of BNS shall not come into force on 1st July 2024. Maybe some discussion in Parliament may be pending. So this is not enforceable now, this section. Section 107, abatement of a suicide of a child or a person of unsound mind. Earlier this section was 305. In BNS section 108, abatement of suicide. Earlier this section was 306. In BNS section 109, attempt to murder. Earlier this section was 307. In BNS section 110, attempt to commit culpable homicide. Earlier this section was 308. These are new sections. Section 111, organized crime. Section 112 of BNS, petty organized crime. Section 113, terrorist act. Then heart related sections. Section 114, heart. Earlier this section was 390. Section 115, voluntary causing heart. Earlier this section was 321. Section 115(2), punishment of voluntary cause hurt. Earlier this section was 323. In BNS section 116, grievous hurt. Earlier this section was 320. In BNS section 117, voluntary causing grievous hurt. Earlier this section was 322. Section 117(1), voluntary causing grievous hurt, and 117(2) in BNS, punishment for voluntary causing grievous hurt. Earlier this section was 325. BNS section 118, voluntary cause hurt or grievous hurt by dangerous weapons or means. Section 118 and 101 and 118(2). Earlier this section was 324 and 326. Section 119 of voluntary causing hurt or grievous hurt to extort property or to abstain to an illegal act. This was in section 119. Earlier this section was 327, voluntary causing hurt to extort property or to constrain to an illegal to an act. Section 119(2), voluntary causing hurt, grievous hurt to extort property or to consent to an illegal act. Section 121 of BNS is related to voluntary causing hurt to extort confession or to compel restoration of property. Section 122 of BNS, voluntary causing grievous hurt to extort confession or to compel restoration of property. Now this section is 122. I will complete till section 125 and then we'll stop here today. Section 121 of voluntary causing hurt of grievous hurt or deter public servant from his duty. Earlier this section was 322 in IPC. Section 121(2), voluntary causing grievous hurt to deter public servant from his duty. Earlier this section was 333. Section 122, voluntary causing hurt or grievous hurt on a provocation. Earlier section was 334. Section 122, subsection 2 is related to voluntary causing hurt, grievous hurt on provocation. Earlier this section was 335. Section 123 of BNS, causing hurt by means of poison, etc. with intent to commit an offense. Earlier this section was 328. Section 124, voluntary causing grievous hurt by use of acid, etc. Earlier this section was 326A. Section 124(2), voluntary throwing or attempting to throw acid. Earlier this section was 326B. Section 125, act endangering life or personal safety of others. Earlier this section was 336. Section 125A, causing hurt by act of endangering life or personal safety of others. And section 125B of BNS, causing grievous hurt by act of endangering life or personal safety of others. Earlier this section was 338. So friends, I am stopping screen sharing here. I am very happy you all are here, and till this last moment many people are still present here, but I hope Pooja will edit this video on YouTube live after some time and you will get in flow video. And in next part we will see section 25(6) onward, 126 onwards. Okay, then we will continue till this law get completed. So this is my endeavor, and then we will compile all these 3 videos in one video also in YouTube. So, and we will segregate it also. for rep sections only, for the chapter also. We will segregate it also. We will compile it also. If anyone want to learn entire comparison, then he may be able to do this. Okay. And when this storm of old law, new law, old law, new law, when it get vanished, the storm, after 2-3 years, then we will section wise only BNS in this section, this, in this section, this, in this section, this will take that program also. So we will focus on that. But near about next 4 to 5 years, 10 years, you have to be touched in both the laws. Because in appeal matter, so we have to see old law, new law, old law, new law. So this comparison is very useful, friends. But for judicial examinations or law examinations, regular law examination, for judicial examination, or I think different law faculties examination, the student candidate will get little bit headache also. So कुछ पाने के लिए कुछ खोना पड़ता है ना, like that. So new law is there. Very good efforts law commission has taken, and many good learned lawyers are also there involved, and they have done these things very well. And gradually, in the due course of time, many amendment will come. This is the process of law. It is going on. So thank you very much, friends, for joining here and for giving me good moral support and motivating me by putting your positive messages. If your negative messages also, I always welcome that also, because that will get improvement in me, and positive messages give me motivation to do. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.